Cancel that delivery because you're about to make the best pizza in your own oven. There is something about a pizza made in your own kitchen, from your own dough and sauce, that turns a bite into pure magic. It's fresher, truer tasting, and absolutely fulfilling. Subscribe and follow for more recipes that beat takeout. I'm Grace, and today I'm going to show you how to make pizza from scratch the old way. Pizza comes out of Italy, born in the old bread ovens of that country, and the Italians are rightly proud of what they built. Join me as I make it here in my own plain kitchen, with my own dough and my own sauce, and I make it with respect for where it truly comes from. Now, here's a happy thing for anyone who's been with us since the beginning. You've already got a piece of what we need. Remember that sourdough starter we built up? If your starter's still going strong in its jar, you're closer to this pizza than you think. And if you'd rather use a packet of yeast instead, that works fine too, and I'll show you both ways as we go. We begin with the dough. If you're using your sourdough starter, take about a cup of it, bubbly and active, and mix it into your flour along with water, oil, and salt. If you're working with regular yeast instead, bloom it first in warm water with a bit of sugar to wake it, and watch for it to go foamy, which tells you it's alive. No foam means dead yeast. Keep the salt mixed into the flour rather than dumped straight onto the yeast, since salt slows yeast activity. Bring it together into a rough, shaggy dough, and then knead it, and knead it well, a full 10 minutes at least. Don't skip here. The kneading is what develops the gluten, that stretchy web running through the dough that gives pizza crust its chew and lets it stretch thin without tearing apart on you. Knead it until it turns smooth and springy, springing back gently when you press a finger into it. Then the rise. Set your kneaded dough in an oiled bowl, cover it, and let it double. An hour or two in a warm spot if you're baking today. One secret to a better crust worth knowing is that a longer, slower, cooler rise builds more flavor. Let the dough rise slow in the cold box overnight, even a full day. If you can plan a day ahead, it's worth every bit of the wait. Once risen, turn it out, knead it briefly to press out the big bubbles, divide it into portions, and shape each into a smooth ball. Let those rest a while longer, covered, which relaxes the dough so it stretches easy instead of fighting you later. While the dough rests, get your oven going, because this is the single greatest secret to good pizza at home. Pizza wants fierce, high heat, the hottest your oven will reach, and that fierce heat is what puffs and crisps the crust fast and melts the cheese into those beautiful blistered spots. Your home oven won't match a pizza shop's roaring oven, but get it as hot as it will go, and let it heat a good long while before anything goes in. A trick to help is using a baking stone if you have one, but you needn't buy one. A heavy cast iron pan, griddle heated, or even a plain baking sheet in the oven does the job just as well. Now the sauce. You want only a thin layer of a simple tomato sauce, no more, or the middle turns soggy on you. Simmer down crushed tomatoes with a little olive oil, garlic, salt, and a pinch of dried oregano and basil until it thickens just slightly, no more than 20 minutes or so. There's no call to cook it heavy or long, since it'll finish cooking right on the pizza in that hot oven. If you happen to have put up your own tomatoes from the garden, this is a fine use for them. For cheese, mozzarella is the classic choice. Grate or tear it yourself from a block, rather than reaching for the pre-shredded bag, since that bagged cheese carries a coating meant to keep it from clumping, and that same coating keeps it from melting smooth. Cheese you grate or tear yourself melts into lovely molten pools instead. Fresh mozzarella torn into chunks by hand is wonderful too, if you can find it. Now, the shaping, which is the fun part and a bit of a skill worth learning properly. Take a ball of your rested dough and shape it by hand, not with a rolling pin, for a rolling pin presses all the air straight out and leaves you a flat, cracker-like crust. Press the dough out with your fingers from the center outward, leaving the rim itself a bit thicker. Then stretch it gently, draping it over your knuckles, working the middle out thin while leaving that rim untouched. Go slow and gentle so it doesn't tear on you. You've likely seen pizza makers toss dough spinning through the air, and that's a real technique for stretching it, but you needn't fling anything about your own kitchen. Once it's stretched round and thin in the middle with a puffy rim, work quickly since a dressed dough left sitting grows harder to move. Lay your stretched dough onto a peel or an upturned baking sheet dusted with flour or cornmeal, so it slides off easy when the time comes. Spread a thin layer of your sauce over the middle, leaving the rim bare for the crust to puff up golden. Then scatter your cheese over that, along with whatever plain toppings you favor. Keep those toppings honest and few. A pizza doesn't want to be piled high and heavy. A simple cheese pizza, just sauce and cheese, with a few leaves of fresh basil laid on after baking, is one of the finest things there is, plain as that sounds. Or add a few good plain things if you like. Cooked sausage, onions, peppers, mushrooms from the garden, a sprinkle of dried herbs. But don't overload it so it cooks properly. Slide it from the peel onto that screaming hot stone or pan in your roaring oven, and it bakes fast in that fierce heat, only a handful of minutes before you slide it out. When the crust puffs up golden brown and the cheese melts and begins to bubble and brown in spots, scatter fresh basil over a cheese pizza if that's your way. Let it cool just a moment so you don't burn your mouth, though that's a hard wait, and then cut it and eat it. This is a dish made for a family and made for joy. Let the children build their own small pizzas, each exactly to their own liking, and a simple supper turns into a whole happy evening. Pizza night in a house becomes its own small tradition, the sort of evening children carry with them for years and make again one day with their own little ones. It isn't the quickest way to feed a family. There are plenty of nights that call for something quicker. But now and again, a made-from-scratch pizza night with everyone's hands in the flour is a moment carried on for years to come. The food a family remembers best is rarely the food that came easiest. Tell me down in the comments, what's your family's favorite to make at home? Plain cheese, or do you load it up? And will you try that sourdough starter in your crust, or stick with a packet of yeast? I'd love to hear how it turns out for you. Until then, take good care of the ones at your table, and remember that the best pizza there is has never come from a box at the door. It comes from your own dough, your own sauce, and your own hot oven.